Let's talk about ice safety. What the fuck am I doing with my life? Today we're going to talk a bit about ice safety. It's currently 11 degrees Fahrenheit here, minus 11 degrees Celsius. Has been for quite a few weeks. The area in which I'm going to test this is a known depth. It's only about knee deep here, and I'm only a few meters away from shore. If you have doubts, don't even go out to test it. Go around. Far better to have to pluck your way around than it is to go through. Okay, so let's get to testing this. First thing you want to do is clear away the top layer of snow and ice. You want to protect your eyes as you do this. You want to be protecting your eyes anyway. If there's sun out and there's snow cover, you can get sun blindness, which is a literal sunburn on your eyes. It's as unpleasant as it sounds. You can use charcoal from a fire, use it like grease paint under your eyes. Use a bandana or a piece of cloth, cut slits in it, tie it around your eyes. Anything you can do to reduce that glare. Obviously when you're cutting, you're going to have ice chips fly that can scratch your eye and put you in a bad position. When you're cutting, cut straight down in an X pattern. Don't go side to side. You can deflect and it'll go right into your knee. And once you're through, you gotta make sure you have a clean edge to measure from. Don't measure it on an angle. That'll make the ice appear thicker than it is. Clear away the ice up top, around the hole again. Make sure you have a nice good measurement. Conservatively, that's 5 inches, which is good. There's about 1.5 inches of cloudy ice on top. You need roughly 4 inches for it to be safe. It should safely hold one person with their equipment. Keep checking as you go along. You may encounter springs or channels, shallow areas where it's thinner. So keep checking as you go every 150 feet or so. If the ice starts cracking faster and faster, louder and louder, go back the way you came. So what happens if you do go through the ice? The very first thing and the hardest thing is going to be don't panic. Once you get yourself in a present state of mind, if there's no water around the hole from going through, splash some up. Put your arms straight out in front of you on top of that water. That thin layer of water will freeze to the bottom of your sleeves, and that'll do 2 things. That'll keep you from going under, and once it does, you'll be able to pull yourself up. Once you're up, remain in the prone position. Don't stand back up. Putting all your weight in one area other than the thin ice is what caused you to go through. Pull yourself back the way you came. The ice was obviously thick enough to get you out there, but wasn't thick enough to support you going forward. These are canid tricks. These were not here yesterday. You'll see later in the video. They are all over the place and have been every day I've come out here. Since I tested this in quite a few areas, I feel pretty safe to pick around the edges again. I know the depth here. I'll go around and try it in another area. There's a good representation of what looks like to be thinner ice. Again, on the margins, like we talked about in the other video, you can see over there any of that. A discarded tire. Getting pretty thin towards the margin. I'm going to turn back. That fox or coyote, whatever it is, we'll tell you about later in the video, it's a busy little beaver. Beaver dog. Dog beaver. Yeah, got some bird tracks there. And these canid tracks. As far as wildlife tracks go, every day I've been out here, I've seen canid footprints. I know one of the people around here lets their dogs free run. This is a deer. A lone deer, but a deer. There's a common misconception that moving water won't freeze. If that were the case, there'd be no sea ice in the Arctic. Well, there almost isn't, but that's a different discussion altogether. Rivers wouldn't freeze. This creek wouldn't freeze. That myth started when plumbers and the water companies started telling people to leave their spigots open in cold weather. The reason for that is water expands when it freezes. Opening a valve will give that water someplace to go when it expands, instead of trying to blow out the sidewalls of the pipe. You know, Prancer and Prancer and Prancer and... come on, I don't know their names, guys. I'm not religious. Here we have some canid tracks. There you go, right down that creek. One of the people that was on this piece of land said they found a bone cache. And these have been out, these fresh prints have been out here every day I've come out. I almost wonder if that's not a lone coyote. Came across a set of prints on top of this log. Over here looks like he got up on all fours jumping up, so probably a canine. Strides look a little bit big for a fox. Oh, beautiful day. As it turns out, 11 degrees is a lot different when there's a 16-mile-an-hour wind. Weren't like this yesterday. See if I don't bust my hips jumping this creek. I can't tell if something was scuffing around under a leaf litter here or if this is bed. It kind of has a bowl shape, like something did, lay down in it. And there is some deer tracks here. It would be kind of weird though, because this hill is on the windward side of the lake. Discuss amongst yourselves. Here's another. This one does have a fair amount of deer prints coming in and out. I don't know if that comes up on the camera or not. This is on the back side of a tree. So even though this is the windward side of the lake, it would act as a slight windbreak. Okay. 2's curious. 3's a trend. Again, deer prints around this. And yet another. More of these little canid tracks. These are fresh, probably last night. Did snow a little bit more. These are a lot smaller than the ones I was finding in the forest though. And this has a lot shorter of a stride. I feel rather confident claiming this one's a fox.